There have been plenty of teams that completely fell apart this season, but none as fast as the Philadelphia Eagles. Carson Wentz had the worst statistical season of his career and ultimately was benched in favor of Jalen Hurts. Hurts seemed to be the future in Philadelphia. So, what's next for Wentz? There are plenty of teams that could make a run at the former All-Pro, but none are more perfect of a spot than the Indianapolis Colts. First, I'd like to acknowledge that the majority of the people who watch our videos aren't subscribed to the channel. Help us out by subscribing and joining us on our way to 100K because it's coming fast and you don't want to miss your opportunity to enlist in the J&D Army. Carson Wentz was selected with the second overall pick at the 2016 NFL Draft by the Philadelphia Eagles. Wentz was expected to be the savior for Philadelphia and possibly lead them to their first Super Bowl victory. And, in a way, he kind of did. Wentz was spectacular in his second year in the league, passing for 3,296 yards and 33 touchdowns to 7 interceptions while pushing the Eagles out to an 11-2 record. But in Week 14, Wentz suffered a torn ACL. Nick Foles took over and led Philadelphia to its first Super Bowl with Wentz on the sideline. Wentz was a second-team All-Pro and made the Pro Bowl on the season. He was expected to come back strong, and he did, but was shut down with a back injury before the playoffs. Foles went in again and led the Eagles to another playoff win. Wentz was even good last season in Philadelphia. He had 4,039 yards and 27 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. The Eagles made the playoffs, but in the wild card, Wentz suffered a concussion after 9 snaps. 2019 was a true disaster for Wentz though. The Eagles dealt with injuries as Wentz struggled. Finally, Doug Peterson decided enough was enough and benched Wentz in favor of Jalen Hurts. Hurts showed some promise in his time starting, enough to likely make him the future in Philadelphia. Wentz only played in 12 games on the year. Despite that, he managed to lead the league in 3 values: 15 interceptions, 19 turnovers, and 50 sacks taken. Brutal. According to Adam Schefter, Wentz was not pleased with the way things have unfolded this year, setting up a potential drama-filled offseason. Enter the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts are coming off an 11-5 season before narrowly falling 27-24 in the wild card to the Buffalo Bills. This past offseason, they decided to sign veteran Philip Rivers. Rivers inked a $25 million deal for 1 year. He went on to record 4,169 yards and 24 touchdowns to 11 interceptions. In no way an elite season, but pretty good. Rivers could retire this offseason, but at the very least, doesn't have a contract. One of the biggest reasons Indianapolis is a perfect spot for Wentz has to be its offensive line. There were plenty of complaints about the Eagles line this year, and for good reason. Philadelphia lost Andre Dillard and Brandon Brooks to injury before the season started. From there, they continued to deal with injuries, ending with 11 different linemen playing at least 50 snaps. The Colts, on the other hand, had the number 7 line in the league according to Pro Football Focus. Indianapolis has spent plenty of capital to build up front, most notably using the 6th overall pick at the 2018 NFL Draft to take Quentin Nelson. The other popular complaint in favor of Wentz was the lack of Eagles receiving talent. Obviously a fair criticism considering the Eagles' leading receiver this season was Travis Fulgham, a guy Philadelphia activated from its practice squad in October. The second leading receiver, Greg Ward, was playing in the AAF in 2019. Safe to say that Philadelphia hasn't exactly surrounded Wentz with talent. It sure doesn't help that the Eagles took Jalen Reagor over Justin Jefferson at the 2020 NFL Draft. Those are 2 fairly convincing reasons for trading for Wentz, but the best reason is coaching. Peterson had his moments in Philadelphia, but it's no secret that his best season was in 2017 before winning the Super Bowl. The biggest difference between the 2017 Eagles and the teams in the years following was the departure of Frank Reich. Reich spent 2 seasons as the Eagles offensive coordinator before accepting the head coach job in Indianapolis. The two have had plenty of success together, and it makes you wonder if Reich would convince Chris Ballard of a reunion. So how likely is this trade, and is it even possible? Wentz signed a 4-year, $128 million extension in 2019. Unfortunately for Philadelphia, the extension hasn't even kicked in. There is money that the Eagles can't get out of, but if a team were to trade for Wentz, they would take on a 4-year, $98.4 million deal. That's an average of $24.6 million per season. The Eagles could take some of that salary, or Wentz could restructure the deal. There are 12 teams in the league with enough money to even take on that deal. Of those 12, only a handful would make sense for Wentz. The Jacksonville Jaguars and New York Jets will likely take a quarterback at the 2021 NFL Draft. That leaves 3 teams: the New England Patriots, Washington, and the Colts. The Patriots are a bit of a mystery. It may be the most appealing from the outside looking in, but Bill Belichick has shown an unwillingness to trade away a lot of pieces or pay players a lot of money. And from experience as a Patriots fan, I believe the Patriots might be looking ahead to the draft as well. Washington straight up doesn't make sense. You don't trade with your divisional rival, let alone trading your starting quarterback. Now that leaves us with the Colts, who have a need at quarterback, a stacked roster, plenty of cap room, and a head coach that had success with Wentz. The Carson Wentz drama is only beginning. The Philadelphia Eagles failed to build around Wentz, but the Indianapolis Colts have the talent and cap to try to revive and ride Wentz to a Super Bowl. Frank Reich and Wentz have dominated the league together before, and they could do it again if the Colts make the move to grab Wentz. Thanks for watching. If you love J&D Productions, check out J&D Hoops, where we recently uploaded our first video. Go subscribe and hit that notification bell, and follow us on Instagram and Twitter for more J&D. We read all of our DMs and love hearing what you have to say.